Words of wisdom with Adam Carriker.
We would personally like to thank Taco Bell for giving people with swag steady jobs for over 50 years.
Hi, Chris Baker. This is fourth and well, the swag thing.
Oh, I got you.
Swaggy
I got you. I thought you
Baker,
were saying he was
thank
working
you.
at Taco Bell now.
No.
Stink
Congratulations.
face.
And welcome back to Washington, Chris.
Rikishi's brother.
Anyway, if you have a guess, this is Fourth and Pain, the only pro wrestling show to be hosted by an NFL player, the weight loss champion. That's Redskins defensive end Adam Carriker.
Chris Baker.
Yes, and I am the restructured former wrestling announcer, Chuck Carroll. This here is Fourth and Pain, an online exclusive, if you will. We're going to be doing this on...
You're restructured?
Yeah, I restructured. Did you restructure?
You restructured?
I did.
Did you grow?
No. Hey, you're funny.
I'm just asking a logical question.
I restructured.
Did you get taller shoes?
I got lifts. I got lifts in my shoes, so now I'm.
They kind of look like heels.
I'm up. Shut up.
Actually, I can't see him. He's sitting on
They're
his legs,
pumps.
ladies and gentlemen.
They are pumps.
He is sitting
They are
on
not
his legs.
heels. They are man pumps.
I just want you to know
They are man
that he is
pumps.
sitting on his legs.
Anyway, online exclusive. Radio mediocrity brought to the
Hey, get up and walk
world.
around.
I can't get
I
up
want to
and
see you
walk.
fall because your legs are asleep now.
Well, you know what? Sacrifices must be made in the name of equal height.
I even hunch over, and I just try to help you out
We
subconsciously.
can't all be 6'6" and 3 1/4. We can't be.
This is very true. And
We
ridiculously good looking.
That's you. You are.
I'm kind of a
handsome.
big deal.
Yeah.
People know me.
In your own mind.
If I had an apartment, it would smell of rich mahogany.
You know what?
What movie?
You're a funny guy. That is Anchorman.
Okay. All
I
right.
can't
Just
wait
wanted to
for
make
some
sure you got
Anchorman
that.
too.
Oh, I can't either. I love it.
Have you seen like the stills that have leaked out? They've got
have not.
Harrison Ford is
Really?
playing the Sirius Network anchor.
I did
this
not know.
over.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Yes.
Harrison Ford. I love Harrison Ford.
All right.
Quick trivia fact before we get into
Sure.
our topic of the day.
Yes, sir.
Did you know that Harrison Ford was originally a carpenter before he got into the Star Wars movies?
I did not.
He was a carpenter, and he actually was not going to do Star Wars when Lucas approached him to do the Star Wars movies as Han Solo because he can make more money as a carpenter that they were going to pay him in Star Wars.
Is this one of those hashtag pillar of honesty?
No.
bits?
I'm being dead serious. Hashtag truth.
Really?
Yeah. This is what I have been told.
I'll be damned.
It was one of my buddies in Loveland, Colorado. He is not a carpenter nor a Star Wars fan, so I don't know how accurate it is, but this is what he's told me, and I believe him.
Hey, man, when I think Hollywood and I think Harrison Ford, I think your buddy in Loveland, Colorado. He is the hard-hitting source. He is better than Variety. He is better than E! Entertainment, ! News, whatever they are.
Up yours, TMZ.
That's
You made
right.
fun of me. I don't like you.
Hi there. All right.
All right, let's get
So
into it.
Friday online exclusive here, Fourth and Pain. And, with the unfortunate passing of Pallbearer, we thought, wouldn't it be poignant, if you will, to go in and talk about some of the top moments in Pallbearer's career, the most impactful moments that he had in WWE. And we have gotten together, Adam, you and I, and compiled a list of his top 5 moments that we are going to be releasing in order. And we start with number 5.
Number 5 was his intro in 1991. I think it was when Undertaker first came out. He even had some reddish hair in the video as we watched it on YouTube.
Little bit.
Definitely not as dark as it is now. Actually, his hair's gone now, as it was a few years ago. Anyways, he comes out as brother bearer, and then he has announced himself as Pallbearer, and he is now and they never really say manager of the Undertaker, but that's basically what he was.
And well, what really struck me in that segment wasn't so much the debut of Pallbearer. It's great that he broke into the wrestling scene. Was how red Brother Love's face was. This guy was redder than Mike Shanahan. This was unbelievable.
I mean, it looked like my Nebraska hat. Like, no joke.
No kidding.
How do you get your face that red?
The video is up on WWE.com. Check it out. The debut of Pallbearer, and just take in the rojo-ness that is Brother Love. At number 4, Adam?
We're jumping way ahead, and we're going to come back and cover some of this middle ground. And I wasn't sure about putting this on here to begin with, but you said it was okay. I think it's okay. The passing of Pallbearer, because it's actually resurrected a lot of things. A lot of the things that he did. It's reminded people of how good he was in the WWE. And it was perfect timing. Not that, timing is a bad word, but it just happened to occur right when The Undertaker was making his comeback. And it really has spurred on into this storyline between Undertaker, CM Punk, and Kane, who beat the CM Punk on Monday night as well. But I think it's really going to uplift this storyline between CM Punk and Taker. And I think the urn is now going to become, because CM Punk kept the urn, I think that's going to become an issue going into WrestleMania.
Right. And you know what? And this is something that we discussed on the actual radio broadcast as well. Podcast available on fourthandpain.com.
Check it out.
This is something that, I think that Paul Bearer, the guy himself, William Moody, he would have given his blessing, so to speak, on turning his real life death into a storyline in WWE, because that's the kind of entertainer he was. That's the kind of performer he was. And certainly when you're talking about death, that alone lends itself to an angle involving The Undertaker and Kane.
Paul Bearer, obviously.
Absolutely.
Perfect fit.
Number 3.
Number 3 is in 1996 at SummerSlam in a match between Undertaker and Mankind.
Shawn Michaels. Is this...
No. This is the turn. This is the turn.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
You're jumping ahead of me here.
I am jumping ahead.
You're a little premature, but that's all right. In 1996, match between Mankind and Undertaker at SummerSlam. And we watched the video, and I don't remember this match personally, but from watching the video, it looked like they just had to get in the ring and get the urn from Paul Bearer, and whoever got the urn from him won. Undertaker got in the ring, should have gotten the urn. Paul Bearer refused to give it to him, and instead gave it to Mankind when Mankind got in the ring. So Paul Bearer's turn on the Undertaker at the 1996 SummerSlam.
I like it, and that was in Mankind's heyday. But you and I actually watched a clip of that not that long ago, and Mankind, Mick Foley, he took a bump off of the apron onto the hard concrete floor below. And I'm not talking about, he landed on his feet and rolled. No, I'm talking about he took a back bump right onto the concrete floor. Mick Foley, you are hardcore.
Honestly, I wonder, because he's been thrown off of Hell in a Cell. He's gone through tables that have been set on fire at WrestleMania, his match against Edge. I mean, just honestly, this little falling off the ring and hitting his head on the cement floor because the mat was gone, that seems like one of the minor things in his career. Like, you talk about all these football players who can't walk when they're 50 and they have, brain aneurysms as they get older. I wonder what he's going to be like in a few years.
Dude, you see him trying to get along now, and he can barely walk. This poor guy is going to be wheelchair bound.
I know. I mean, that's how he made his career. That's how he made himself, because he wasn't actually that great of a wrestler.
No, but it's all about the charisma, and he was willing to do whatever he did.
If you were him, would it be worth it to you?
Yes, man, that's infamy. You're doing what you love. You sacrifice yourself while you can. By the way, remind me, I want to show you video of his his Japanese death matches that he did when he was actually wrestling in Japan. They had a death match tournament, and some of the sickest stuff that you've ever seen in your life never aired in the United States. But those Japanese wrestling fans, they are crazy.
Is that kind of like Celebrity Deathmatch? Used to air on MTV?
It's not that different. It is not that far off, only it's real life. It was insane. But we're talking about the top 5 moments in Paul Bearer history.
We've been distracted here.
Here on Fourth and Pain. We're up to number 2.
Number 2, the big return of Paul Bearer after having been gone for a few years at WrestleMania 20. And it is also when The Undertaker goes from being the biker taker back to being the taker, like the darkness taker, the Undertaker. And they make the big return of WrestleMania 20 in his match against Kane.
Right. And after Kane's introduced, he's in the ring and he's saying, "No way he's back, no way he's back." Boom, lights go out. And then what do you hear? You hear Paul Bearer, "Yes, yes, yes."
You do that really well.
Thank you.
I can't even try to do that. My voice would crack like a pubescent little boy.
Well, it comes from being short. Little short guys, we have the compacted voice.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Can I try?
Yes.
Can I just try?
Yeah, go.
Yes, yes. You see my voice, it just like gives out on me.
You sound more like one of your little kids than Paul
I'm like
Bearer.
a really fat guy trying to go a push-up and I can't get back up. It just gives out on me.
But you know what? Coincidentally with that, rumored on the internet anyway, that was his big return to WWE, and that was during a time when he was at his heaviest. He was 525 pounds, and before he came back, WWE agreed to pay for his gastric bypass surgery. And so, me being the weight loss champion, having undergone that myself, hats off to you, WWE, for doing that. I think that is phenomenal, and it really led to one of the more memorable moments in Paul Bearer's career.
I mean, that's good business, but that's also just being good people. That's just taking care of your employees. That's just taking care of people in your life, because not a lot of companies would have done something like that. I think that's actually a pretty big deal.
And they actually treat their talent very, very well. Current superstars, former superstars, is back to the beginning of the company. If they ever feel the need to go to rehab, WWE pays for that.
Do they?
They
I've
do.
actually always wondered about that.
That is part
because
of
wrestlers, it's physical too, just like football.
that is part of well, we're talking more about substance abuse rehab, but
Oh, okay. Well. So what about later on? Like this was physical, you know, his weight issue, the gastric bypass. But what about later on in life when they have the their knees don't work and things like that? Do they have rehab? Will they pay for that rehab for their wrestlers?
that's another topic for another day. No,
Not
they
so
don't.
much?
In short, no. There's a nonprofit organization that tried to
Really?
get off the
Oh, okay.
ground from a former WWE diva and ECW performer by the name of Dawn Marie. Started something called Wrestlers Rescue that never really kind of came to fruition. But that's neither here nor there. We have one moment to go in the history of Paul Bearer, and the number one moment
This is my favorite moment because I'm a huge Kane fan. I think he's underrated. I think he's underused. I think he's used improperly. He should never be a face, maybe for a short amount of time. But Kane's debut, 1997. The Paul Bearer announces that he's had an affair with the Undertaker's mother, and it happened like 2 decades or like 20 some years earlier. So Taker's having a match, Hell in the Cell with Shawn Michaels. All of a sudden the lights go out, and out comes Paul Bearer and Kane. And Kane comes out. So the introduction of Kane, and Paul Bearer's out there with him, and Kane rips the door off the Hell in the Cell cage. Undertaker's just like in shock, awe, and amazement. Kane tombstones him. Shawn Michaels, who was out to that point, ends up pinning him and winning him the match. But just to me, I thought that was one of the coolest things ever, and Paul Bearer was obviously part of it.
Absolutely. Comes to the ring carrying the urn and just sells it. And matter of fact, if you saw during that match, Kane, after he rips the door off the hinges, he enters the cage and he grabs, I believe it was Earl Hebner, and just throws him right
boy
against
Earl.
the cage. And then, the Undertaker and Kane, they have their moment in the ring. But what you don't see until Kane is leaving is the Paul Bearer is on the outside kind of chastising the fallen Earl Hebner at that point, just kind of
I
giving
missed
him the
that.
business. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So those are our top 5 moments in Paul Bearer history.
Really quickly, before we let the people go for their weekend, they go out and have their fun on the weekend. Be safe, by the way. Monday, what'd you think of the match between Kane, CM Punk? Because that was set up with CM Punk disrespecting Paul Bearer. And were you surprised that they had Kane win when CM Punk, I mean, people want to see if he can beat The Undertaker. He can't even beat Kane. Were you surprised by this at all? And then CM Punk stealing the urn as well.
Initially, yes. But here's the thing. You can't have CM Punk win that match. I think that was the respectful part of Paul Bearer, having his son go over. And maybe I'm reading too much into the storylines, but I think that it was fitting for Kane to get the win, because in the end, CM Punk still generates this enormous heat because he steals the urn. He interrupts the Undertaker at the top of Raw. When the Undertaker's paying homage,
more so than the end of the match.
Absolutely. And plus, if he does go on to WrestleMania and beat the Undertaker there, it will be all the more shocking. Not only is the Undertaker losing for the first time, but he's losing to a guy that just lost on Raw. So you couple those things together. That's kind of the way I'm approaching it.
Okay. I smell what you're cooking.
All right. Tweet us your top 5 Paul Bearer moments, or your top Paul Bearer moment at all. At Fourth and Pain, we would love to hear it. But for now, Adam, we are fresh out of time and up on a weekend. Hey, let's go have fun.
Sounds good. Be safe.
All right. Good talk, everybody.